Hello and welcome back to another episode of Podcast 572. As always, I am your host, Kyle. I'm joined by my two friends, Dan and Matt. We're going to go ahead and kick it off with what we've been playing. I'll briefly say, since the last time we talked about it, like I'm still playing Starfield, but I have put it a little bit, I'm not done with it. I put it on a little bit on a break because I wanted to finish that story of Mortal Kombat, which I have. Good. And then some other stuff has come out, which I'll talk about. But Mortal Kombat, so I finished Mortal Kombat. I've seen the Chapter 15 thing. I was not as... here's what I'll say, and without spoiling it, what they do is cool, but it's something I feel that has been overused the last couple of years. So when it got to it, I was like, okay, this is cool, but...
I see where you're coming from with that because, like, it is a trope that exists in almost everything right now.
Right? Yeah, it is.
Which is kind of upsetting. But within the context of the story of the game, I liked it a lot because it makes a lot of sense. It's kind of a joke about. We kind of talked about this last time, but it's kind of a joke about how fighting game story modes work and like
it is
canon endings and all that kind of stuff.
It is.
Like I told you, it does something. It does a lot of really fun stuff.
Absolutely.
Where like you're like the whole time you're just like, this is getting crazier. It gets crazier as it goes.
It does,
which is the most fun part about it. The weird thing about it, this isn't really like a spoiler, just because of like characters and stuff that are in the game. But like the weirdest part I thought was how they called them the combat kids at the time, but like they all show up.
They do.
Which is strange because they're not talked about. There's reasons, but they're not talked about in the game. Obviously, they aren't playable characters. But that part is really like
it's kind of odd that they're just there. Yeah.
Yeah. And it makes you think, like, how are we really incorporating this game's story with, the last two? Because they're clearly here.
What are they going to do for the next game? That's my question.
I don't know. Because did you watch like the end credit scene or like the mid credit scene? Again, that doesn't make a lot of context within what has just happened. Because
it made me go back because the trophy is literally called like "Who Was That?" or something.
Yeah,
and I went back and I'm like, because you have to play the chapter twice to get that thing. So like I went back and watched it because I'm like, maybe I missed something, but I'm like, no, it's this specific person. I'm like, I mean, I guess that's cool, but like, is that the direction we're going?
Yeah,
I guess
because
it's weird.
You don't know what direction it's going, and it could really go. I hate to say like it could go anywhere, but it's clearly not like Mortal Kombat 2. Like, I don't think that we're at the concept of there are tournaments anymore or anything like that. I think it's something else.
I mean, at this point, I think it's pretty well known without spoiling it that even though the game's called Mortal Kombat 1, it is a direct sequel to 11.
For sure. It's Mortal Kombat 12.
I wouldn't treat it like this is a reboot in the sense of this is Mortal Kombat 1 again. Like it's
they tried to market it like it's restarting it when it's
they did
not. It is
and
not.
I think that did the game a little bit of an injustice because, like, starting it, it's like they can market it that way, but it's not even like you play through half of it and then, it really is a sequel. It's right there in the beginning, the first 30-second cutscene.
It works better as a sequel, and I will say that,
it does.
I as much as I loved the ending, which I really did, I also really love like the mid game reveal. Mm-hmm. Where it's like that's what really kind of sets it off. Like that part is really good too. It's really well written, I guess, for a story game. But
it's incredibly well written for a story of a fighting game. But they've been doing this with every Mortal Kombat since 9. Like the story's gotten better and better. The other thing that's fun about this one is like obviously when it starts, there's certain characters that maybe don't have their traits. That you're used to, and then the fun of it is like, okay, well, when is this person gonna get this trait? Like, I guess it's not really I wouldn't use it as a real like huge spoiler, but like for example, the character of Kenshi, when you meet Kenshi, he's not blind,
right?
So the question then becomes, well, are they gonna do that, or are they not?
It's like, maybe not.
Exactly. So, you know what it reminds me of? You remember the dumb movie Hot Tub Time Machine?
Yeah.
Oh, the guy in the fucking and he's like, because you're gonna have like that's kind of how you feel when you play through it. It's like, is it gonna?
I also really liked how they took characters that normally you would not care about like Baraka and Reptile, and actually
give them a huge fucking story.
Make them central characters. Like they are incredibly important. Like Reptile in the past.
What was his like made or the name they used from here? He had a unique name, and it was good, but I can't remember.
And it was a whole thing, and they gave him a backstory. He had a family. He's not a bad guy. It's so crazy to flesh out characters like that you never would have thought of.
And they finally made it. They finally did a thing where it makes sense why he's, sometimes you see him when he's a character as a person that can, that has reptile abilities, and sometimes he's just a straight up reptile. They actually kind of explain that.
That was kind of a weird cop out, though. The way they explain it, a little bit. Okay, I guess it fits in the context, but the only other thing
Baraka's handled well.
I really wish they would have done was, again, in chapter 15, when you're fighting against all these other characters, you know what I'm talking about when these characters you fight are unique. That should exist outside of this.
It should.
There should be. I don't necessarily even want a character creator per se, but I think there should be.
They tried that in the past, and
there should be other options. You know what I mean? You get it.
If you can do that and make that a part of the game, for the story, you can make a mode like that, right?
I'm hoping that maybe that's what the story leads into. Is maybe the next game could expand. Well, here's another
question. Do you think that they do? Because remember, the last game, for the first time, they did a story expansion. Do you think they do that again here?
I think so, because I don't think they do a mid-credit scene to not pay that off until the next game. That would be crazy. That would be years of.
Well, the thing that's weird too is we already know who the first 4 or 5 guest characters are for that season pass or whatever, but then they're out there teasing some horror icons too, like Chucky and I'm trying to remember the other one.
Well, so there
clearly will be more content than just.
I think this game will get a lot more content than the last one did. Yeah, I feel like maybe the point is to make this game last even longer than the last.
So they can have more time to work on Injustice 3 or whatever.
Yeah, you could easily do one more giant story expansion. You can maybe even get away with doing 2 of them if you really wanted to, because I think they do those well enough to the point where I would pay for those for this game. Yeah, if it meant I didn't have to wait 5 years for whatever the next one is.
But yeah, for me, I finished the story. I would agree with you. It's not a step backwards. I think it is a sidestep though compared to the last one. At this point, I'm going to wait until those characters are out, and then I'll go back and do stuff with the other modes and stuff, because there's plenty of other things out right now to play. But I wanted to at least get through that story, because I knew at some point that, and shockingly, I was able to make it through that story without that being spoiled.
Yeah.
So, which is surprising. So Mortal Kombat. So I finished that. That's done. The only other things that I've done. So yesterday, and this is my dumbass fault, but yesterday I saw a game spot video about here's the first, hour of Robocop, the game. And I watched maybe 20 minutes of this before I realized, there's just a Steam demo you can go download and play. It's only on Steam, the demo, so it's not on consoles. And I was like, all right, well then I stopped watching that, and I was like, all right, I'll go play it. Because I wanted to see if it would sell me on the game. As a Robocop fan, as someone who's watched that movie 6 times this year, for whatever reason.
It's a lot.
It's fucking great. So we'll see. I told Matt earlier today, I think it will, when it comes out, I think it's going to be a 7 out of 10 game. I think it will be what it reminded me of as I played it. It's what we've been missing, what we talked about last time we recorded, which is that double A. You don't get those kind of games anymore. You get triple A, or you get indie stuff. This is very much a double A, but the loving detail that they've put into this from Robocop reminds me of the amount of detail that they put into that Alien Isolation game.
Would you also put it on par with that Xbox era Punisher game?
Kind of, yeah. So they clearly got Peter Weller. To come back and voice him. They even have the lady, what was her name, Ann Lewis, like his partner, she's in there. They have the fucking cop that's behind like the desk at the police station. Like they have all these things. It's absurd how much detail they put into it. So like the first mission of the game has you kind of like storming through this TV station that's been taken over by this gang. So you kind of put them down. It is as violent as you want it to be. Like I've said many times, like Robocop is like the most violent fucking movie ever made. It is that level of violence. Like you shoot somebody in the head, their head fucking explodes like crazy. If you shoot someone in the dick, it is an achievement to shoot someone in the dick. They make the same like exact like the movie like body mannerisms. It's very funny. So the first mission, basically, is you take out this gang at the police station, or not police station, this TV station that's taken over. But then after that, you go back to the police station. You kind of have like, you know how in the movie, like he has to go back, he has to be fed his food through the tubes and stuff. And they kind of like tinker with him, like after he's out on the streets. That's kind of where you can like level up and stuff. Okay. But then after that, it just opens up and you can explore the city.
That's
as Robocop, where like you have a car. And you go and do cop stuff. Like I wrote somebody a fucking ticket.
That's cool.
As I'm like walking around, like the mayor calls you and he's like the police chief calls you like the mayor's daughter's car's been stolen. You need to go fucking investigate this right now. Make it top priority. So the first thing I did, like you just go and start interrogating this guy at a garage. Like it's absurd. Like it kind of reminds you, like they almost took like elements of that police simulator from last year and just threw it into this RoboCop game. Like, but it's him. Like you have dialogue choices when you interrogate people.
That's
too.
Weird.
Like you can be nice or be a dick, and like there's way more going on in this game than I had any idea. At least from this demo. And the demo's like, I actually stopped playing the demo because I got to the point I'm like, I'm sold. Like, I don't need to play any more of this. Like, but also like, I because of the dumb time that it comes out, I'll wait till Black Friday to see if maybe they do a sale on it. But because it comes out a week after Alan Wake, like I can't. It's 2 weeks after Spider-Man and a week after Alan Wake. Like I can't do it.
Right.
So, but I was very impressed with it. I will also say it was finally. The demo was finally the time where like I've played a PC game now where like it's time to upgrade my video card.
Oh, so boy.
I had to lower some settings and stuff, and I have a 2070, so I haven't that video card I had in my previous PC when I built this one back in January of 2020, right before the pandemic. So that was the one thing I skimped on. So like it's time. Like I'm not upset at what I did, but this is the first time I've played anything. Like even Starfield runs fine, but this game, like it had some issues. So whereas like I don't think that'll be a problem on the console. And I'm not going to play it on PC either. I'll play it on Xbox, but very impressed with the demo. And then the last thing I played a little bit of, my girlfriend's actually beat it, so I've heard a lot about it. And I will probably finish this week. It's not very long, but the High on Life DLC, High on Knife, has come out. The thing that is cool, and they did this, if you have Game Pass, the DLC is $15, but this makes me believe that they're probably going to take this game off Game Pass soon. For $20, you can just buy it all. So you can buy the full fucking game, which is still $60 on both systems, and the DLC for $20. So I did that because she loves the game, and I'm sure in the future she's going to want to go back and play it again. Right, so if it leaves Game Pass, whatever. So like for $5 more than that DLC, like whatever. Here's the thing that this is the thing that blew my mind. So they have in this game, it's in the trailer, so it's not really a spoiler. They have a fucking Cheers parody in this game.
Okay.
But here's the thing that blew my mind, and this is an achievement. And I did not know this, and now I have to go back. So you get to the point where this Cheers parody happens, and instead of like the characters from Cheers, the characters are slugs because that's like the planet or world that you're on, whatever. So they go through, they sing like a version of the Cheers song that they've written themselves kind of shittily. Okay. But then one of the lines is just like, oh, and Frasier's here too. And they fucking animated Frasier as himself, and he sits at the end of the bar. And so like I kind of went through and did what I was supposed to do in the mission and left. And then my girlfriend told me later, she's like, did you sit through like the whole skit that they do in there? I'm like, no. And she's like, he fucking talks to you. And it's an achievement.
Oh, wow.
And it's a fucking achievement in the game. It's like meet Frasier. It's not a joke. There's an achievement in the game. It's a secret one. And so I told her, I'm like, God damn it. And so I'm going to just start the DLC over again because it's very early in the DLC. anyways, and I'm not that far in it. So, but I need to see that for myself.
That is insane.
She's like, you can just YouTube it. I'm like, no. I need to see that as a diehard Frasier fan. She's trying to tell me it's his voice. I'm like, there's no fucking way. But like, it's probably his sound like, but it is absurd. He's literally just sitting at the end of the bar. Like, and it's funny because like in the main game, they make jokes about it. Cause like sometimes when you kill enemies, they're like, oh, I'm not going to live to see the Frasier reboot, you know? So I don't know, like somebody over there loves Frasier. Apparently as much as I do.
That is really bizarre.
But that DLC is fine. Like the little bit I played, the only thing I'll say that's weird about it is, obviously, because of what happened with Justin Roiland, he's not in the game. So that main gun character is just gone. So when you start the DLC, you have a gun that looks like him, but is voiced by a woman. And they don't explain this. So at first I thought, I'm like, oh man, they just got somebody to shittily replace that guy. This is kind of fucking weird, right? And no. It is a totally different gun named Harper. And they explain in one line of dialogue from one of the characters, just like, hey, that's what happens when you fucking drop guns and leave them. And that's how they explain that character's exit. And that's fine.
Okay.
It made me laugh. So it's very much in taste of the game. So, but I will finish that this weekend. So that enticed me. When she told me that, I'm like, nah, I have to go back. I have to see that. That's insane. Especially next week is the Frasier reboot premiere or whatever. So
that actually starts.
I got to see that. Wow. That starts the 12th. Yeah.
Okay.
So I will say early reviews are not promising.
Well,
so, we'll see. I mean, I will watch it and judge harshly. So, but that's basically wraps up like what I've been playing. I did mess around a little bit with the Steam Deck, but I didn't nothing really to report there other than the Steam Deck's still fantastic. So I will kick it over to you, Dan. What have you been playing?
So I put a lot more time into the Mortal Kombat 1 like invasions mode. Mainly because we talked about it last time where it's basically like the battle pass, you know?
Okay.
So it has a certain amount of time to do this first round. So I've decided I'm just gonna push through it and finish it, and it's still super boring. There's like these 5 like mesas you go to, which are like the different boards for this thing that you move around and like you go into fights and stuff. It's so long, it's so tedious. Like you're just doing the same thing over and over and over again. Yeah. And it's just because like move a square, accept the fight, go into the fight, beat the fight, leave the fight, move to the next square, and it's just so slow. Like it just keeps every little thing takes more time. I'm powering through it. Like I decided to kind of skip like there's branching paths and stuff. Unless I have to do it, screw it. I'm just following the path to finish it. I'm on the last one now. I just have to get in there and eventually like beat Scorpion, which part of this is like you level up and you actually can improve your stats. Pro tip, just put it all into attack and you can just uppercut people to death in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
It's really broken. It's a little weird how broken it is. Because you also have these things like talismans that you can use during a fight, and you can like upgrade these talismans and put new things on them. So I just made one that has like a shitload of armor on it, and every time I fight a boss, and it has 4 activations per fight. So I just turn it on when I start.
Seems like one too many.
I can take like 2,000 damage before it even like hits my health bar, and then when that's done, I can turn it on again.
No, that seems broken.
Weird. So I just jump in and I just do like if I just want to get through a fight, I'll do uppercuts, and eventually like that. And the main reason I do uppercuts is because that'll give me the brutality at the end, which is the quickest finisher that actually gets you decent XP.
Okay.
Because like even the brutalities for some reason are more efficient than fatalities, which is fine because even though I have a character I've used so much, I have 2 fatalities with. I'm already bored with those because guess what? They're the same thing every time. Yeah. There aren't enough finishers. Like, why aren't there friendships? Why aren't like? I know animalities are stupid, but why aren't there no animalities? Like, I need more for this, and maybe that's something they'll add. I hope more fatalities is something they add, because again, I just do the same ones every single time to the point where sometimes I just don't do them. I just do that thing where like you punch them and they fall down because it just takes more time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why this is the way they decided to go, but I guess so. Like you earn like, seasonal money so you can buy stuff from the seasonal store, which is just more color swaps for outfits and not even barely even new outfits. Again, I've used one character for a majority of this. I have 2 outfits. Damn. 2. I had to buy one of them with the seasonal stuff, and the rest of it's just colors. Wow.
Yeah, that's
cool colors. There should be more costumes. Again, for something that for chapter 15 existing in that game and showing you what is possible to do in this game. It does not happen anywhere else. And it's a weird oversight to me.
It does seem like a weird one.
Like, it's just, I don't get it. So I'll finish that up, and then that'll probably go on the shelf until the DLC characters come out, and I use them.
And my thing with that is, like, I'll wait until all those characters are out.
And maybe Invasion season, maybe season 2 in, a month, they are like, well, we made some changes to it. Then I'll check it out.
I'm sure they will improve.
I hope so.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of where that's sitting. Again, that's another game where you still can't platinum it because there's one trophy that's still time walled and nobody knows until when. Which at this point it seems like it's probably season 2, which is crazy because that's over a month after the game release. For you to be able to actually platinum the game,
it's a little weird.
Yeah. Other than that, like for my showdown game lately, I've been playing Unpacking a lot.
That's my jam.
I love.
Is that game good?
Yeah, it's fun.
It's on Game Pass and the PlayStation thing. So
it's. I bought a physical copy of it too from Limited Run because I'm an idiot. But it's a really like chill game. Like it's not very long, but it's kind of just fun. Like you just open the boxes and you put stuff where you want. The game's it's a little restricted because like in order to pass levels, things have to go in the correct area. Mm-hmm. And that can be even like minor things where it's like you put on this desk when it's supposed to go on this desk. And you're like, wow, okay, come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a cool little like hangout game. I love the way it looks and like how like how clicky it is to put things into place. Like they fit in places and stuff, which is nice. It's a little puzzly, but not really. Again, it's just sometimes it can be confusing as to what the game deems acceptable. It can literally be like if you put something on a counter in the kitchen, if it's a square off, it's not in the right spot. So it's a little weird. But that game's fun, and it's the kind of thing where you can play it again. It's not really different, but you could play it again. Like it's still fun to kind of hang out and put the stuff away. So that's and again, I've just been playing it on PlayStation Plus while I still have that. So
when did yours run out?
I think like a month.
Okay.
I'm not even sure. I should probably check, but pretty soon, I think. Whatever. I'm not going to miss it. Not for the price. If it had stayed the same price, I probably would have been like, well, damn, that sucks, but okay.
Whatever.
But not for $40 more. They're out of their minds. And then the other thing I've done is I kind of wanted to play something since I tried playing Starfield and it didn't really wasn't feasible. I decided to play something else, which recently got, we'll call it the full release. So I put in Cyberpunk and started playing that. It's weird. I'm not super hooked on it yet. I'm not very far either.
It takes a bit.
I did the intro, and I have Johnny Silverhand hand in my head now.
Okay.
So I have reached like I guess what you would call the beginning of the game.
It takes a bit to get into that game. I don't think that game particularly has a great intro.
You don't really have any freedom up until even at the point I'm at is when it finally opened. And there's other quests and there's other things to do. But that being said, like it looks great, it plays great. The dialogue and everything is great.
I haven't looked at that game since I played it at launch.
Well, that's the thing too. Someone who never played it but watched videos and it was a complete mess. This game is perfectly fine.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with the game. I've had a couple weird instances where like a guy will walk through somewhat, but it's because I'm in a dialogue scene where like I'm in a fixed angle and that guy has nowhere to go. Kind of a thing.
Yeah, I've seen that in Starfield.
It's rare. I've seen it, but it doesn't. That's also the kind of stuff that doesn't bother me. What bothers me is cars driving through buildings and like stuff blowing up. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like that kind of weird shit. So I have not had any problems with the game. It is very good for what it is. I just wanted something that would give me kind of like a Starfield experience where like it's a first person RPG action
I can see
shooter
that.
kind of like it can make they're actually pretty similar games.
It will get to a point where all of a sudden like that game very much also is, I would say, is about the side quests. Like a Bethesda game where it's like the main story with like there are interesting bits with Johnny Silverhand for sure. But that game also lives on its side quests, and there are some that are pretty crazy.
I can tell just from the couple that I've already picked up that it's going to be more of where the meat of the game is, and just like kind of exploring and looking around and stuff. So I'm excited to do that. I mean, all of this is just killing time for 2 more weeks. Right? Like let's be real. No, I'm just killing time until Spider-Man comes out.
Spider-Man.
So I did that. I've got my Spider-Man reserve that's ready to go. I'll just go pick that up. And then, and then I'll be playing that for, I mean, I think the first one, to be fair, I think the first one really only took me like not even 2 weeks to play through it twice.
Yeah. From what I've read, it's like a 30 to 35 hour.
Well, it's the kind of game where I don't put it down. Like if like the last one, I played through it straight through. Miles Morales, it was even shorter. I was done with that in less than a week twice.
Yeah.
So I'm very much looking forward to that. And then obviously like Mario's after that. I got my I had my Rebirth reserved at GameStop, but I moved it to Best Buy because to get that sweet double steelbook action.
Yeah.
And they still have that. So if you haven't done it yet, I would look into it.
I will.
Because at GameStop, all you got was a cool hat. And you know what that means. Which, I'd rather have, I know I don't need it, but I'd rather have 2 steelbooks than a generic hat.
I would too.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just killing time until Spider-Man and Mario. And then December, there really isn't much, right?
Is there anything in December?
I don't think so.
That's what
I haven't heard of anything.
That's why I've been kind of holding off and like crossing my fingers and hoping by then Baldur's Gate is out on the Xbox.
I want Mirage on Black Friday.
Yep.
I want I told you yesterday I saw that Immortals of Avium's already 40.
That'll be 20 Black Friday.
If that's 20 Black Friday, I think I'm in.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff where if it's cheap Black Friday, I'm in. Like Mirage.
This year more than I think any previous.
There was another big one that I was like, I will wait.
Yeah, Black Friday. I can wait.
Yeah, so that maybe that'll be my December stuff.
I'm actually hoping the AEW game is Black Friday is decently priced as well, because that's my buying price is like 20.
And then at some point, probably in December or January, I do want to replay Final Fantasy VII before just to play it again.
No, I hear you there.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll keep playing Cyberpunk. It feels like a game now. I have no idea what the upgrade path was like before, but there's a lot to it in this, like a lot. There's different nodes, and then each node has a thing, and then you can unlock more things.
It was relatively big. I don't know how much they've expanded that since.
It's pretty good. Like there's a lot to invest in and look at and play how you want. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me right now.
What about you, Matt?
Sounds like an adventure. After you started talking about Robocop, I downloaded it too.
But you haven't tried it yet, or?
Yeah, actually I did.
You did? Okay.
I got past the first little mission in the studio, and I just got like to the point where he was like healing and all that stuff right before he goes out to the city. Mm-hmm. So I haven't done much.
You know what's weird too is like, as someone who's seen that movie more times than they should, like they're it's kind of like they're taking elements of that movie, but like throwing it in story wise. So like they're doing the whole like, he kind of gets shot up a little bit during that mission, and then he's kind of having visions of his life beforehand. It's like, so is it really a sequel to the first movie, or like what is it doing? That was the only thing I'd say. I wouldn't say I walked away with that like being a negative. It just more for me was like, what are they doing story wise? So
yeah, I could definitely see what you're talking about.
But I enjoy it, but I also love RoboCop. So
I haven't seen RoboCop in a while, which is probably something I should rewatch, because it wasn't bad. I don't know. I just didn't like gravitate to it like other movies like that.
Sure.
Which is nothing wrong with that. But it was good. I mean, the demo's not bad. It's not horrible. It's what I would expect from a RoboCop game, honestly.
So it's made by the people that made that Terminator Resistance game from a couple of years ago that people say is pretty decent. It's never on sale to the price I want to pay. Gotcha. Which is like $20. It's always like 30 or 35, and I'm like,
I kind of feel the same way. When RoboCop comes out, I'll put it on my wish list, and if it drops at any point to like 20 or something, I might pick it up because it's not something like I definitely need. But it's also one of those games that's kind of like, okay, it's a sale price. I could definitely dig this and kind of go through some shit. Because I did like the fact that you can blow off limbs and stuff in the game.
It's absurd. It's what I wanted. They're like
fingers off, and they're like, "Oh, my fingers!" And I was like, "That was pretty cool."
It's the level of violence from that movie that I would expect in this game because that movie is like horrifically violent. For the time, like even if you go back, because like that's one of the reasons I hate that reboot movie is like the way he is fucking killed in that movie compared to that new one where he just got blown up by a bomb. Like that's nothing. They fucking murder that man with a shotgun, and it is horrifically violent.
Yeah.
So like I expect that level of violence, and the game does that.
Oh yeah,
very much does that justice. So
for sure, I definitely agree with you. I mean, like you could pick up computer monitors and chuck them at people, and they electrocute them. Like it's.
I liked there's a part where you're storming an office, and if you throw one of those monitors in a certain way, like if you can have a power up where it like slows time down a little bit, so like you have like paper flying everywhere, and you're shooting people in slow motion. It's well done.
It's very well done.
It's very well done.
So, yeah, I tackled that a little bit. Maybe I will try to finish up the demo this weekend. That way I can just be done with it and see what it's about. Finished Ratatouille on Game Boy Advance.
God.
Hell yeah. Speedrun, right?
Of course. It's Ratatouille on Game Boy Advance. There's nothing crazy to talk about. We talked about it all last week.
So I'm going to see you at Games Done Quick next year doing a speed run of Ratatouille.
Oh, for sure.
He's always got it on it, man.
Yeah, man. I guess that'll be my September playthrough game. Like I'll just start playing Ratatouille on Game Boy Advance.
There you go.
Halloween's coming.
I did also tackle some WWE 2K23 GM mode.
Okay.
I will say it feels a little better than the previous years.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting into the swing of things. Like, certain wrestlers can't be paired up with other wrestlers because they have bad matches, and you have to, like, of course, beat the other GMs, but you can have up to, like, I think it's 4 GMs total.
Yeah.
Kind of all competing against each other.
Okay.
I do like the fact there are a lot of GMs. Like there's Stephanie, you get Tyler Breeze as an option, Xavier Woods is an option,
That's
Adam
good.
Pearce is an option, Sonya Deville. Like there's a lot of people. Bischoff, if I remember right, was an option too.
I think he is Mick Foley too.
Yeah. So it's really cool to see that. And so right now I have one where I'm SmackDown with Tyler Breeze.
Okay.
And I've got Raw, NXT, and then I decided to throw WCW in the mix.
Hell yeah!
So it's been an interesting a couple of weeks with them guys. So it's a lot of fun though. I'm finding it to be actually pretty enjoyable. So that's pretty cool. I did spend a couple of weeks trying to get the match types down because like certain people can't pair with other people because they just don't mix well.
Yeah,
right.
And that kind of takes a little bit of learning to get into. But once you do that, they also kind of hint to you too. Like wrestlers will talk to you like, "Hey man, just so you know, I'm pretty good at these type of matches," and you're just like, "Oh, cool. Well, let me throw you in that match and see what happens." So it's been interesting. I'm gonna tackle some more of that to just play it.
That is also on my Black Friday list.
Yeah, I hope that's cheap.
100%.
Like I said, I found it at 50, and I was like, "Well, I got to give it a shot." Especially,
you got it with everything, so for 50% off, like that's a good deal.
Yeah. So I'm really hoping, especially because it was on sale at like 50% off for like weeks before I caught that sale that dropped the deluxe edition down to 50, and I was like, "Yeah, that's not a problem." So I think come Black Friday, it should drop it down even more to do that. What else? Oh, I did play some of MK1.
Yeah,
my friend brought it over that Sunday
we recorded last time.
Yeah, and we played like about 3 hours, just the matches. Like we were just going back and forth.
Right.
And then my son thought he was the master, and he was like, "I can play. I've been playing fighting games." And I'm like, "All right, boy, jump in it." And like just murdered him. And he's over there just getting emotional, and I'm like, "Dude, stop." And I will say the one thing I don't like is that when you're trying to do fatalities, they don't give you the ID, like they don't give you the fatality moveset in the regular one-on-one matches. They give you the option to do easy fatalities.
Okay.
But then they don't tell you where to be. It's just like the easy fatality is like R2 and X.
Oh, yeah. But are you supposed to be close, far?
You're not close,
mid,
you're not mid, not far. It doesn't give you anything else. So you're just like
shitty.
Clicking R2 and RX and just kind of like walking around for that 2 seconds that you can get there.
Interesting. So I've never tried to do an easy one, so I didn't realize that was a problem.
Yeah,
but it makes sense.
After about 20 minutes, I just jumped online and found all the fatalities. So I just started going through fatality lists with everybody. And
that's the fun of those.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I did also tackle Disney's Speedstorm.
Okay.
I started.
You'll have to explain what that is.
So it is like a Mario Kart version for Disney.
Is it free to play or something?
Sure, right? It's free to play right now. Okay. They're in their like 4th season. One of our coworkers, Kyle, actually, me and her talk about games and she's big Disney. It's D.
Okay.
So she's big into Disney.
Mean. Okay.
And she messaged me and she's like, "Hey, you should really try Disney Speedstorm. It's actually a lot of fun." And when I looked, the price was $39 for the starter pack.
Sure.
And I was like, "Nah, I'm not paying $40 for a Mario Kart ripoff. I'll just if it changes, changes, I'll grab it then." And it popped up season 4 and they put it on free to play. And I was like, well, then damn, let's just download it and see what's up. It plays like a battle pass type Mario Kart game.
Okay. Kind of figured that though.
Do they like rotate who's available to use? So like that kind of method?
You earn people as you go through. Okay. And they do like the unlockables for like a specific time frame, like a week or whatnot. Okay. And you can get this new character if you choose to pick it.
I'm not a big Disney aficionado, but like who we got in here? Like what kind of characters?
So I started with Mickey, of course. So far I've ran across Belle, Mulan, Mowgli, Baloo, the Beast, Donald.
They have anybody from Frozen in that movie?
Yes, I believe the Anna and Elsa are from Frozen.
Both.
I haven't hit them yet.
I was gonna say that would seem like an insane oversight.
Do you think
Jack Sparrow is in it?
Does it get real fucked and like you can race as Lightning McQueen because he actually is a car?
Oh, that would be dope. I didn't even think about that.
Shit,
that's actually a good idea.
Would he think other people are driving the skeletons of his friends because they're all driving cars?
Now we're getting real dark.
Now
this is Disney dark.
This is Disney dark edition, my dude.
The Speedster's lore.
There you go.
I will say though, it is a lot of fun. The maps are not super big, but not really small. They're kind of mid maps. Okay. And there's a lot of shortcuts, like a lot of different paths you can take to make it through.
Sure.
And there are only 2 laps, so each match kind of goes pretty quick.
All right.
And you get like specific achievements you have to do throughout the match, and if you get them, of course, you earn more like points and stuff like that. I just unlocked Donald. I'm in like the chapter 2 for it.
Okay. Is it when you play? Can you play offline against bots, or is it always like online? You always
it's always online. I believe so. I kind of figured. Like when you play single player, because that's the only one I've played. You're always playing against bots, and I think, or not bots, but at least people and other bots maybe. And the match types run between like 6 to 8, depending on how many people are, I guess, playing that same map you're going through.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I'm at chapter 2. The races have been pretty good. They don't have a lot of power-ups like Mario Kart does.
Okay.
I've really only seen 4. There's like a speed boost. Well, 5. I take that back. There's like a speed boost. There's an option to have like a fence around your car type thing.
Okay.
You can set your car on fire and like run into other people. There's like a turtle, not like a turtle, but like a bomb you can throw, and it like blows up whoever's in front of you.
Okay.
And then there's like this weird reverse option. If you hit people with it, like your screen rotates and your controls are back and forth. Like it's really weird.
That's weird.
But it'll throw you off for like 3 seconds before it like returns it back to, and it is a little crazy. But I will say, I mean, for a free-to-play game, I haven't put any money to it, and I've been enjoying my time with it.
Okay.
That's the best you could hope for from a free-to-play, man.
A free-to-play game, exactly.
For sure.
I'm gonna play some more of it. Like I said, right now they got Jack Sparrow as the like special character to buy.
Okay.
So depending on who the special character is, maybe I'll pour some money into it. We'll see. But it's
you're telling me you're not a Jack Sparrow fan, is what you're telling me.
Listen, I like Captain Jack, but he ain't my favorite Disney character. Just gonna say it. Okay. Nothing against him. Johnny Depp is amazing, but
who we looking for in terms of to get you to pay? Who would they have to put in it?
Maybe Genie.
Okay,
Genie's a good one.
Okay, that's a good one.
Maybe Genie. I would also dare to say maybe Olaf.
Okay.
You give me an Olaf racer, and I might have to purchase that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they go crazy and do like a character from Gargoyles?
Ooh,
it's a Disney property.
I mean, Gargoyles is a deep pull, but it's a Disney property. Yeah. That's saying,
think about it though.
But that's saying you want somebody from the Mighty Ducks cartoon in it.
Yeah, but the only reason I mentioned Gargoyles specifically is because we're getting that remaster of that game in a couple weeks. Yeah. So it's like, hey, kids, like I don't know.
Hey man, give me Powerline from a Goofy movie.
Let's say, but now I sound like Steve Buscemi from that fucking meme. Hey,
it just plays the music, right? You could charge $20 for him.
The tracks on the carts are like remixes to whatever level you're playing.
That's cool.
So, like, I was playing a Hercules-based race, and in the back, I didn't pay attention, but in the background, it was like a remix to what's the one song?
Like the main Hercules song?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I forget what it's called, but I know it.
You know what I'm talking about? The Michael Bolton one. Yeah.
Do they have anyone from The Little Mermaid in this game?
Kyle, please don't. Don't do it.
I'm talking the animated. You would think they would, just because that was the most recent, even though it was live action. That was the most recent
content, though. Like,
sure.
Yeah. So far, I haven't ran into anybody like that. Okay,
they do, but it's just that seagull.
I was going to say it's flounder, but that wouldn't fucking make sense.
Hey man, put him in a fish tank, and the fish tank's driving the car.
But hey, if Red 13 can, ride a horse or whatever.
Yeah, so I did look it up, the gate. And so far, what you have is so the people they have on this list right now, they've got Mickey, Belle, Mowgli, Jack Sparrow, Megara, Mulan, Hercules, Donald Duck, Beast, Li Shang from Mulan.
Okay.
They got Elizabeth Swan. They got Blue.
Okay.
Sully, Mike Wazowski, Randall, Celia, Goofy, and Figment. Woody, Buzz, Jesse, Bo Peep, Steamboat Mickey, Steamboat Pete, Stitch, Lilo. Like, it looks like they've got a lot of
that's a lot of characters.
See, you actually have characters from Pixar, so again, like Lightning McQueen, let's do it.
So right now they have 37 characters.
But make Lightning McQueen drive a car. Like, put him in a car.
Like a Lightning McQueen. That's what I was thinking, too.
Well, otherwise, like, what you said, one of those power-ups is like a ring of fire. Wouldn't that fucking hurt Lightning McQueen? You throw that around him? Like,
I mean, tires are his hands, right? Is that how it works?
Exactly. So he's just burning his hands?
Look, I feel like we're getting too much into this.
We're getting too... I don't know. I'm actually, like, I'm sitting here going, like, I don't know if I'm really interested because I'm not a big Disney person, but, like, my girlfriend would definitely be down to play a Disney Mario Kart.
It's really not, like, I really downloaded it to just kind of pick on it because I was like, this is probably going to be stupid. But it, like, I found myself playing it a lot more this weekend, and I was like, in it. And I was like, I need to put this game down. And the thing is, if it's free to play,
a lot of people will be playing it online.
Yeah.
So, a kid-friendly Mario Kart.
When Mario Kart is already kid friendly.
True, but I'm saying like on non-Nintendo machines. So
yeah,
because I assume it's on everything, right?
Yeah, and the fact I think it's even on mobile like now too. So I mean, you can play it anywhere.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So no, I maybe I'll look into it just to see. So, anything else you've been playing, Matt?
And I did start playing a mobile game called Chrome Valley Customs.
Okay.
It's a car puzzle game, so it's like car simulation restoration. And to earn points, you have to play a puzzle to get through it, kind of like Candy Crush type puzzle.
Sure.
I will say this is the first mobile game I've played that has no ads.
Wow.
Like, I went to a doctor's appointment with a friend of mine, and we were in there for like 30 minutes. I played this game nonstop for 30 minutes,
and no ads.
No ads. I didn't have one ad, dude. I was restoring cars, playing the puzzle, going back to cars, playing the puzzle. Like, nothing interfered with shit. And it didn't dawn on me for those entire 30 minutes until I finally sat down and I was like, there's no fucking ads in this game, dude. Like, it's been fun and it's been entertaining, and there's no ads. So
that's crazy.
Do yourself a favor, download it if you're into like car simulation restoration.
And it was free or okay.
Free game, no ads, puzzles, and car simulation. I was like, yeah, I'm down.
Very interesting.
Yeah. That's it for me.
Oh, we can jump into news here. We got some news stuff to go over. I don't think it's as crazy as last week. No big leaks or anything
nothing
like that.
Insane.
But yeah, nothing insane like that. But we'll kick it off. This is just kind of a random one. Embracer Group is planning to close more studios. Not shocking. They have not announced who, but considering that, what was it, $2 billion? Was it $2 billion? It was some absurd number.
That they were going to put into it. It was something insane.
The Saudi
like that,
thing, that fell. Yeah, so they're going to close more studios.
Well, I mean, they're not exactly pumping out the hits, so
no. Xbox boss Phil Spencer would love a Mech Assault revival, but he does not have a plan. So somebody asked him at a panel, like in the last week, if there was like specifically a franchise he would like to reboot in the back portfolio, and Mech Assault was his answer. But you can tell, even I've watched the actual video, like it is just a fan of the game speaking. It's not Phil Spencer going, we're doing this. It's literally just, I love Mech Assault. I'd like to do it.
Mech Assault's been dead for such a long time. I really, really, really liked the first one. The second one was good too, but I liked the first one more. That would be a cool game to come back, just because I think there's a market for that game. And when you think of like original Xbox games that need to come back, it's probably towards the top of the list, because even games like Crimson Skies would be cool to see again, but I don't think you could make a full game out of that anymore.
Yeah.
But
no, I agree.
Remember, his answer always used to be Phantom Dust, and then he did it.
And then it happened.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a pretty good track record. So maybe.
They got to make other stuff at some point if they're actually going to give us 5 games a year, right? And the thing about Mech Assault, doesn't have to be a major, like a big, like huge major release. It could just be Mech Assault.
For sure. Sony, there's a big Sony hack, which the thing about it's a little weird. So a ransomware group by the name of ransomed.vc has claimed that they have compromised all Sony systems. As at the time of at least this article, and they have updated this article as well, the claims have yet to be verified. Sony put out a short statement afterwards just saying, we are currently investigating the situation. They have no further comment. I haven't seen this really gain like a lot of traction this week. It seems like it's kind of gone by the wayside. And I think part of it is like, it hasn't really been 100% verified yet from my understanding.
Gotcha.
So it's not like, when it first happened, I'm like, oh, is this like the 2011, thing all over again? It doesn't seem like it's that. So I'm sure we'll hear more about it as it's investigated, but it doesn't seem like it's at least a doom and gloom situation yet. It seems more like one of these hacker groups is, strutting their stuff basically, but we'll see if anything really comes of it. So we'll basically more to come on that. that Banisher game, Banishers Ghosts of a New Eden. I thought this game actually looks pretty cool. This has been delayed until February of 2024 just to get it out of the way of every other fucking game in the next that 3 to 4 week period.
But they just pushed it into a time period when Tekken comes out, Persona 3 Reload comes out, to the Tomb Raider remaster, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, Helldivers, quote unquote Suicide Squad. Sure, whatever.
I would have pushed it a little further to April, but
you could have made it to early January or
I was gonna say why not push it until December?
Yeah,
when there is nothing else. Good. You know what I mean? If you want your game to plant its flag where nothing else is really around it, December is fine.
The beginning of 2024 has a lot of random stuff in it, and then
it's only piling up more. After this was announced, or I think it was right after. Or right before it was Final Fantasy, planting its flag the 29th of February. Yeah. So,
and it was after Alone in the Dark got moved, but then it's also there's just a bunch of stuff coming out at that time too.
It's quite a bit. So I don't know. It's a hard game to play though, because there's a lot of times with these companies, they make these decisions and then all of a sudden 8 games are going to put their game out around
else coming out.
There's always going to be something else. So, our next news story, we actually got an email about, so I'm going to read the email first. This comes from Brad from Linwood, Washington. Hey guys, love the podcast. Have any of you tried Payday 3 yet? It's been a complete disaster. I know they say it works now, but it works in quotations, but I don't trust it after 3 days of not being able to get into any matches.
That's crazy.
That sounds like a nightmare. So, as I kind of alluded with the email there, Payday 3 has had a very rough launch. Basically, from everything that I've read, it all revolves around their servers, I guess, just weren't ready. I also think that they should have probably prepared more because this game launched day and date on Game Pass. So you're automatically going to have more people playing it because of that.
I just don't understand. Why is Payday 3 an online-only game? This game does not need to be an online-only game.
Payday 2 you can play offline at launch.
Yeah.
So
this game does not need an online-always requirement. It is so crazy.
It doesn't make sense. So
it's so bad that they're debating putting in an offline mode.
And that's what I was going to say is even though they're saying the servers are working now, they even came out and said well, we'll think about maybe putting an offline mode in the game.
They're going to have to.
God, they're gonna have to.
I'm interested in playing it just because I enjoy those kinds of games and
that was the thing we were kind of talking about before we started recording. This is a sequel to a game that came out 10 years ago. It doesn't look much better visually,
and for being a game that's only on PS5, PC, and Series X, why doesn't it look that much better?
A little bit better than what I've seen. It's weird. So, I would say this is probably one of the biggest news stories of this week. The head of Sony PlayStation, Jim Ryan, is retiring in March of next year. So a lot of people immediately when this came out, a lot of people throwing mud at this guy because of all the Activision stuff. But a lot of what I read is he's just tired of traveling.
Why would he be tired? He flies privately around the world.
Exactly, but he's tired of getting on planes apparently. So,
he can't do these things over Zoom. I mean, honestly, I don't really care because he needs to go.
I agree. It's time.
I laughed at his legacy is now going to be, started a new Plus service, immediately raised the price. Cried about Xbox buying Activision and lost that fight too. And then I really wanted games as a live service, and then I left.
But see, here's the thing: for the gamer side of things, that's what people are going to remember him for. From the shareholder side of things, they're just looking at the money,
right?
But if you really look deeply at it, he's just riding off the success of the PS4 era into PS5.
He wrote
he didn't bring all these wins. He just continued the streak in terms of... I saw people trying
to give him credit for the PS5 being such a huge success.
No,
it's not him. It's everything that was built before it. It's the fact that they were trying to be he made all this money. It's he oversaw a console launch where there was no supply for almost a year and a half.
Yeah.
He could not figure that out. Well, look at how much it's selling. Yes, because there are none of them. Like, of course it's going to sell. Of course it's going to look like your shareholders. And then basically
the PS4, the PS5 launch was I'm pretty sure Sean Lane rode that up to the launch and then bounced out.
Yeah.
Kind of like Jack Tretton did up to the PS4.
Right.
So, but it's time. My hope would always be that you could get someone that likes games as much as like a Phil Spencer for Sony, because I think that would do them a lot of good. But we're talking about Sony. We're not talking about. We're talking about Sony. We're talking about Japan. I don't think that's going to happen. Who it's going to be, I don't. They announced who the the interim person is, but it's somebody from Sony Japan. So will they search for somebody for this part of it? But it'll be interesting because a lot again, and I 100% agree. Like, well, there are certain people that will try to give him credit for a lot. Like, he rode the coattails of PS4 success into the PS5 generation. The PlayStation 5 was always going to be a success going into it. Well, the only thing that would have botched it is if they came out and did something as drastic as either the PS3 launch or the Xbox One reveal. They didn't do that.
They also act like, he got us through COVID. Yeah, you mean that time period where people were locked in their house and all they really did was play video games?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, everybody
that was everywhere. Everybody did good during that time.
Home. Yes.
Every company, every video game company did good during that time.
Did pretty good. Sure.
So I don't know. I'm interested to see who takes over for him.
We'll see.
And if anything changes in those regards, like, again, Sony's not going to turn around and suddenly go, we don't mean to do that price hike, we take it back. Like, stuff like that's not going to happen.
No, that was his final gift to you, the consumer.
His final gift was pay us more for what you already have. I got to leave now.
Pay more for my severance as I'm out the door. They pay me to leave.
This actually has been debunked now, but the KOTOR, so the Knights of the Old Republic remake, the trailer got delisted, which made people think that maybe the project was getting canceled, because Disney is canceling a lot of projects and across all entertainment mediums right now. Yeah. A lot of stuff, especially in the streaming department. But the real reason here is they had some licenses that expired, so they had to take the trailer down.
It's all revolving around music stuff. Yeah. That's what happens.
The game's not canceled, but I'm sure it is still very much in what we would call development hell.
Yeah, it's not. It hasn't been moving.
No, not it. We've had that one. When was that trailer? Like 2 years ago?
Well, the thing is like if we're at a point where a trailer getting delisted is the biggest news you've heard about that game in a couple of years, it's probably not going super great. And remember, that was a game that didn't work when it came out, and now they got to put it on new systems. So,
yeah,
yikes.
I put this in here because I thought this was a fun one. A former Goldman Sachs analyst indicted for insider trading may have been caught by an Xbox 360 chat. That's how far back we're going.
That's crazy.
So this man was recorded on an Xbox 360 chat, so the 360 era, admitting to passing on illegal trading tips to friends on a 360 chat. Think about that.
That's crazy.
I thought it was crazy, and I thought it was funny that they were actually able to go back that far and pull that stuff. So
I laugh because I think he even said something about like they can't catch us on Xbox 360 chat. Like,
I think there is. Yeah, I think that is one of those. Dude, one of the reasons why he did that.
I'm pretty sure they record at least some amount of backlog to that in case they have to go back for like a reported complaint or something.
Yeah. No, absolutely. One of the other big things happening this week, the bunch of layoffs hit Naughty Dog. It seems like it's not been 100% confirmed, but it really seems like that multiplayer factions Last of Us thing has been canceled.
Let's just kill it off anyways. Like, Jesus.
It already got put. Didn't it already get bumped to the drawing board because of Bungie? They were like, "Hey, Bungie, take a look at this." They said, "This game sucks."
So they appointed like a special team from Bungie. So they probably grabbed a couple people because Bungie, not that Bungie are the experts, but I think it's probably in Sony's mind the only experts they have on their side to look at anything that's live service, because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make live service games right now. Whereas, like, if you look on Microsoft's side of things, they've been pretty successful with some of those things, like Sea of Thieves, Grounded. Whether you choose to believe or not, Grounded is actually pretty successful. Like, there are a lot of people playing that.
I still see people playing that. Yeah.
So those games are successful. So obviously Sony wants to compete in that landscape, but those people or those experts, they feel Bungie, and this was a couple months ago, were even like, this isn't even where this needs to be, is basically what they were told. So if this is truly canceled, it wouldn't surprise me. And my guess is they probably will just take those people and put them on whatever they're working on right now, be it a Last of Us 3, which my money is on they're making The Last of Us Part 3, because why wouldn't they? That TV show is insanely successful.
Or hell, they'll just fire those people too. I mean,
or that. So, but yeah, as a whole, like, this whole live service idea for Sony and those games it's just kind of hurting PlayStation right now. It seems like so. And again, this is all happening as Jim Ryan is exiting. So, kind of wild.
Maybe he just saw the writing on the wall for all of his plans, and was like, I don't need to do this anymore.
I mean, that guy just seems like the type of person that looks and sees something like Fortnite and goes, we need to do something like that. Yeah. He doesn't seem like someone that actually gets what Fortnite is. It's more of he sees the money part of it and goes, we need to do that. So, I thought this was wild and crazy. So obviously a couple months ago, was it back in August, they put out to little fanfare that Red Dead conversion port or whatever we called it for PlayStation.
Not a remaster, not a remake, not
just a conversion.
Kind of a port. Yeah.
For Red Dead Redemption, which came out for PlayStation 4 and Switch, playable on PlayStation 5, obviously.
Right.
Has been updated now to run at 60 frames on PS5. Quietly, as the game nears a physical release next week. So, because there is no physical release for it yet. Right. It's out next week.
Yeah.
But that now makes it the best version of that game to play, because the Xbox version is not 60 frames backwards compatible. Actually, it has led to people petitioning Microsoft to put out a patch for that, which, like, that is a totally different thing. That's, emulation and 360. I don't know if they could do it to that game.
No, it's weird. Like,
they'd also have to get Rockstar to be behind it, and like, Rockstar wouldn't be making money there. You know what I mean?
Well, they made the patch for this PlayStation one. Like, it's got to be.
But also, look when the patch came out. It came out a week before the physical version, which there will be an audience that goes to the store and goes, "Hey, I remember Red Dead Redemption. I'll play that again."
I wonder if it's able to, like, not necessarily like boost mode, but maybe they could like fake it somehow. You know what I mean?
I mean, here's the thing: like, they've done that for other 360 back compat games. Oblivion is a great example. You can play Oblivion at 60 frames on a Series X and full 4K. So it is possible, but I think it's the kind of thing where they have to go to Rockstar to approve it. And is Rockstar going to approve it, like, without seeing some sort of number?
I don't know, man. What
money
else
they're going to make?
They're making Grand Theft Auto 6. It's about it. And
yeah, but
do
they need to do it? I was gonna say, do they need to do anything else though?
I don't know.
GTA 6.
Five is making millions and millions and millions of dollars probably every couple days. So
it is. This comes to no surprise. This seems like this was about a year ago. Former Ubisoft execs reportedly arrested after a year-long sexual harassment investigation. So,
thank goodness.
That whole thing that came out, I think, like a year ago about this. They finally finished. It seems like they finally finished the investigation and are going to bring those people to justice. So that's at least good there. Finally. Blizzard has unveiled Diablo 4 Season of Blood, which is out, the 17th, I believe. They've made a bunch of changes to the end game to quote unquote make it more fun.
Good.
But all that seasonal stuff, that's all the 17th. So that's coming up. So maybe be time to check back in on Diablo. I have not checked in on it in a while. My girlfriend keeps saying, like, she wants to play Diablo. And so we do need to, one of these weekends, we do need to do that. So,
yeah.
PlayStation Plus, I thought this was interesting. So PlayStation Plus, we just had that whole, raising the price and whatever. They've quietly added to Plus Premium and whatever what is the version above Premium? What is it? I always forget what they're called. It's like Essential, Premium, and then
Extra,
Big Boy tier, Extra maybe.
PlayStation Plus Premium.
They've added a movie app that has some movies, like a bunch of Sony movies and stuff on it that you can stream. I want to say when I was looking at it that Gran Turismo movie is on there because that just came out digitally. So again, it's a thing that they added to it. Do I think that's worth, $30 or $40 more a year?
No.
So, but
there's nothing on this list that even most of this stuff can be found on
everything everywhere else.
Tubi and Pluto, my guy.
Exactly.
Why the fuck am I going to pay an extra $40?
Exactly.
Nah, you got me.
And I think they're being being kind of dumb about it because I think they're looking at it and going, well, people that game, they don't have all these other apps and stuff. It's like, no, people that game have Netflix, they have Hulu, they have they're going to have all these other services. So you got to offer something unique to get them in the door. And that these are movies that are everywhere else.
Not enough. With
maybe the exception of Gran Turismo, but I don't know.
But who really wants to watch that?
I hear it's good. But I read the reviews and said, really? A
if
movie
it ain't
about
Fast and Furious, it ain't a car movie.
I looked at that and then thought to myself, are you sure? Because I remember the Need for Speed movie, which I did see.
Whoa.
You saw it too, Dan.
It's a bad movie.
And that was a very bad movie. So this I thought was funny. So maybe a day before this happened, there were a bunch of articles running about how Bethesda has not made good on Redfall. And then literally the next day, they put out the big patch fixing a bunch of stuff in that game, but also adding a 60 frames performance mode to the Series X. We finally done it. Is the game fixed? I don't know.
Should we have just waited until now to release it? Probably.
Think about it. What would have killed to wait until Halloween time to put this game out?
It would have been fine.
No. Would have been fine. People probably would have been more excited.
More interested, more marketing. It wouldn't have been as broken.
Maybe not. Mark your calendars for next Friday, but it seems like that will finally be the day that Microsoft buys Activision and it finally goes through. We'll see.
Unless the FTC steps in again.
For what? Would that be the third time?
Are we counting anymore?
For FTC, I think it would be the third time. So, but yeah, we'll see. I would assume it's going to go through. So, and I think after that, again, a lot of people think, all this stuff's just going to be on Game Pass the next day.
A while.
When they do, they will drip feed it out too.
It will be, hey, a couple of these games are here today. Hey, Diablo.
Here's your Call of Duty pack.
Diablo 3 Ultimate is on today.
Yeah.
Hey, go play Candy Crush on your phone. That's what the announcements will be.
Here's a Candy Crush Xbox version.
Man, shit. Don't do it to
they'll
me.
Do it.
Don't do it to me.
They'll do it. Remember the Xbox One era when you could do the snap thing?
Yeah.
What if you could do that with Candy Crush?
That'd be good.
There you go.
Watch a movie and play Candy Crush on your TV at the same time?
I use that. You know what I use that snap feature for? To look up YouTube videos to get the collectibles in Murdered Soul Suspect.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
That is the last time I used that feature before they took it out. Was a cool feature.
I think people underestimate how successful those weird arcade games were at that time period, on Xbox, Bejeweled and Peggle and all that stuff. I played a lot of that stuff all the time.
I played so much of Plants vs. Zombies 1 when it came to the Xbox.
Yeah. Hexic was free for the 360.
Hexic was free.
A lot of Hexic.
It's crazy. I played a lot of Root Beer Tapper, the arcade version of that. Yeah. That's a great game. There's a good era, the 2005 to 2007, 8 era of the Xbox Arcade before they started really doing the summer of arcade stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's a good era of just random arcade
every so
stuff.
often. Yeah, as soon as they were Dig Dug's gonna be on here, I got that immediately. Just played a lot of Dig Dug.
We're going back as far as to that was when you had to buy Microsoft points.
God,
that's how far back that
Microsoft
is.
points. So, Jesus,
what a different era.
What a terrible system. 800 points is $10.
When was
None
it?
Of
was
makes
it
any sense.
2010? like around the Slim when they finally were like, we're just going to make it dollars.
Had I taken over the store at that point yet?
I don't think so. But it was like, all of a sudden, it was like one day they finally realized like this point system is fucking
You're right.
dumb.
I think I was at the store, my store in between. So yeah, I think
yeah, but I remember because it was around like either the release of the Slim or whatever the version of it was after.
We had just started getting like those displays on the wall where we hung like the cards on the pegs, and I remember having to get rid of all the points cards.
Points ones for $1.
Like, hey, those are trash. Yeah, they are.
It was a good day. Then finally, the Cyberpunk 2077 will be getting a sequel officially. It is going to be developed by those that helped fix Cyberpunk 2077 and develop this DLC that just came out, Phantom Liberty, which I will play at some point, but I have not got yet because there's no way I'm going to have any time to play that right now. That is also like, that's my backup. Like if Baldur's Gate isn't out by December, on Xbox, that's my backup. Like I'll play that Phantom Liberty DLC. So, and with that brings us to emails. So we will go ahead and jump on in to the emails for this week. First email we have hot off the press. It's for me.
Oh, wow. I guess
Bob
I'll take
from
a
Stafford,
break.
Texas. Yeah, there you go. You should take a break. Bob from Stafford, Texas says, "Hey guys, was curious about Kyle's thoughts on Castlevania Nocturne and the controversy surrounding the show. I will say first, it's important to note this did get signed today for a second season. Not that it ever wasn't going to. So I know what he's talking about when it comes to controversy about it.
I have no idea.
Okay, you have no idea. Okay,
for sure.
So." There's a couple things. I will say, like, I enjoyed it. My girlfriend and I, we demolished that last weekend. I told her, like, I will re-up Netflix for a month. We will demolish this Castlevania thing, and then we'll cancel it, which is a good idea because literally the next day, it sounds like Netflix wants to raise prices again. So they're talking about waiting until the actors' strike is over to do it. So because they gotta make money off that.
Keep it going.
So, I will say it is not as. I mean, it's hard to judge because this is the first season of a new thing. It is not season 5 of what came before it. This is season 1 of a sequel series. So it takes place 300 years after the previous one. It stars Richter. Part of it is Richter is not the age you would expect him to be based upon Rondo. He's 19 here, so he's not really matured into the Richter that you expect him to be when the show starts. But there is something that happens during the show that gets him to that point, which I won't spoil here. So I think people that first started watching the first couple episodes, there's something that character does specifically that even my girlfriend, when we were watching it, she was just like, boy, this character seems kind of weak. And I told her, I'm like, just wait till we get to the end of it because they're not going to do that there. I will also say that when he kind of gets through that, there is an excellent fight scene where they play some very prominent Castlevania music.
Well,
and he has a fucking scene where he puts the bandana on.
Okay.
To that music and fights some people. And that is it's probably the best scene of the show besides the end, which I also won't spoil. The controversy around it, which it's weird. So the show takes place in like this, I think it's 1780s. They for whatever reason, and again, the thing you have to remember about this show is the things that they're pulling from don't really have a lot of story because in this version so far, there is no Dracula. He was defeated in the last series.
Okay.
So there is no Dracula here. There is no Alucard here. This is new characters in a new time period. And so because of that, there is specifically, they have to take other characters from that era of Rondo of Blood and Symphony in the Night because it's kind of a mixture of both. So first thing they do, they take this character, Orlox, played wonderfully in this show. You would know the actor if I showed you a picture of him, but I don't know his name off the top of my head. Fantastic. Probably the best voice acting of anyone in this series. Oh, nice. He is a character that is a sub-boss in Symphony of the Night that you fight once that barely has any kind of backstory. Yeah. The only thing that's prominent to note is that he can turn into this like lizard dragon thing. That's it.
Okay.
And they have written an entire character around him. That's cool. Okay, so that part of it you look at and you go, all right, we've done something cool here. The part where it gets a little wacky for me is that this whole series also has a thing where we have vampires who are white and they run plantations have slaves.
Oh.
But, and this was the part that took me out of it, one of the main vampire is a lady that's like really nasty. Her like minion or like second in command, and this is the part of it that doesn't make sense to me, and this is why there's controversy going around, is African American.
Oh no.
That brings questions of like, that doesn't really make sense given what's going on here, you know? So there's been a lot of controversy around that online. And then the other controversy is like the writing is not as good as the previous series. There are a lot of scenes where it's like, you know, fuck yeah, we're going to do this or something like that. And it comes off as like a little too fan fiction-y at times. But again, the argument I would always make there is like, you kind of have to write some stuff into this because the characters you're choosing to do don't really have a lot of backstory.
Sure, yeah.
Gotcha.
So the main characters here, you have Richter and then you have Maria, which like if you remember Maria from there, she's the one that can like summon birds and stuff.
Yeah, I remember.
They do that excellently here, and they kind of give her a backstory with a mother that I don't remember you ever meeting in any of the Castlevania games, and that's a whole thing that they've written in here. So I get the controversy. I'm not really upset by it. That was the one thing. The other thing that makes it worse with that character, the African American one, she doesn't look, the way she dresses does not fit this time period at all. It's like everybody else is like dressed very, you know, French Revolution era. Okay. This lady's in like fucking spandex with like these high platform heels, and like it's weird. Where it's like, this doesn't make sense. So with that being said, I enjoyed it. It's not as good as the previous one, and but it ends on a way where like, let's just say someone returns that you're very happy to see. And when that happened, my girlfriend was like, "Is that the last episode?" And I was like, "Yeah,
of course it is.
You gotta wait." So I enjoyed it. I did like a short review on my YouTube channel. I gave it an 8. I think that's fair. So, and it has a lot of room to grow into what it's going to be. So,
gotcha.
That's what I'll say about it, but I enjoyed it. The controversy, I get it. I can see why some people are upset because it's a little weird. James from Holly Springs, Mississippi writes, "Hey dudes, with the PS4 version of Red Dead Redemption port getting a 60 frames patch, do you think the Xbox back compat version will also get patched?" Which we kind of talked about.
We talked about it, but
I don't know. Like, again, I think it's a money thing. So I think the only argument Microsoft could make to Rockstar is like, look how much this sells when it's on sale.
Yeah.
Because that game is on sale all the time.
Well, I definitely think, I think another big part of it too would be that Microsoft doesn't necessarily want their version to be the worst version of it now, when it wasn't before. And now that they've patched it, it is. I'd imagine there's probably a conversation or a phone call or something that is either happened or is going to happen where it's like, what do we have to do to get this to be 60 frames?
Yeah.
Because realistically, if they're making a PS4 port that's 60 frames, can't they just port that like somehow? Like there has to be a way that could also exist on Xbox. Like,
well, I go back to
a while, but
I go back to, we've already done stuff with this 360 emulation to make like Oblivion run at 60. There's a couple other, I want to say Binary Domain is one.
A lot of weird stuff got boosted.
There are other games that got boosts in certain ways. So like, I think it's possible. It just depends on if there's enough push for it. So we'll see. Time will tell. Ryan from Ashland, Massachusetts. Hey guys, what do you think of Jim Ryan stepping down? Will they get a good replacement that seems to connect with gamers, or do we get another spreadsheet pencil pusher CEO who doesn't even know what Horizon is? She made me laugh because don't you remember that throwaway line at one of those press events he was at when they asked him like what he was playing? He was like, the next greatest Horizon game or something dumb like that.
Yeah, he doesn't know what any of that
He doesn't know.
Is.
He doesn't know. That would be my hope, kind of like we discussed earlier, is like I would hope that they would get some, even if it was like the PS4 era when you had Sean Layden and you had that Adam Boyes guy. They both kind of really seem to at least understand what people that play games want versus
the
business side of it.
Actually know the product and actually like understand the business, and they probably wouldn't have flipped out the same way he did about the Activision buyout. They would have because they would have sat down before the whole thing went down and talked to Microsoft about if you're going to do this, like, obviously we're not going to be happy with it, but we'd like to come to some sort of agreement about it, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So instead of just throwing a fit and hoping everybody else solves your problem through lawsuits and injunctions and all this other shit. The hope would be that it is someone who cares, but the realistic answer is it's whoever's going to make Sony more money and whoever's going to can make them continue to dominate the space, at least like from a public perception. Even if they don't have first party games scheduled right now, everything's live service. The cost went up. Like where it's almost double what live or Game Pass is. Like we think the PlayStation Portal is the wave of the future, along with VR and these new earbuds, which aren't Bluetooth and all this other stuff, like trying to force you to only live within like the PlayStation ecosystem is what I think they want. Don't be surprised. Remember they years ago, they tried to push like buy our 3D TV to play your 3D games.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Failed too. They always try to get into these things.
Don't you have one of those?
I have one sitting in another room because it was our demo unit that eventually they were like, we're not going to sell these anymore because nobody gives a shit. So I just took it.
In fact, that is a question I'm going to throw out there because I am amazed we have not gotten an email about this yet. I'm going to put out a call to any of the GameStop listeners that listen. Write in and tell me if you have had a conversation yet with a customer about the PlayStation Portal and how it actually works. Because I would be curious to know if it is as bad as I suspect or we've talked about on the podcast, which I think I would imagine it has to be, right? Like that conversation has to have happened at some point. It will happen it will happen soon when the thing launches and we're in the holiday season, which is
parents
right around the corner.
See it on the shelf. And they think it's a portable PS5 or something like that. Because I've seen even comments online about that thing and what people have expectations for it. I'm like, that's not what this thing's going to do, man. I was having a conversation with a friend about it again today where it's a $200 controller.
It is.
It's the best way to describe it. And because remember, it only plays PS5 games installed to the hard drive over good Wi-Fi. That's it.
That makes my head hurt.
It's a $200 controller. Are there people that it works for?
Yeah,
sure, but there's a lot of people it doesn't, and we would have people buy stupid shit thinking it was one thing when it was a less complicated item, and having to explain to them like, no, that's not what this is, kind of a thing, and this is only going to be worse.
It is.
People remember.
But I'm curious.
People buy the PSVR. The one question you had to ask: do you own a PlayStation? Well, you have to have one. It's a VR system.
You'd be surprised at how many people would think you could just buy that VR and that was the system. No, it's just a headset.
This is not a VR system. It is a PlayStation accessory.
Yeah. So you would be surprised, but that's a call I would love to hear because that conversation has to have happened at least once so far.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe we'll be overwhelmed with emails next week about the PlayStation Portal. I don't know. Maybe I've opened some like actual portal to GameStop hell. I don't know.
I'm sure there's some people that want it and are okay with what it is, but I don't think it's been clear enough about what it actually is.
No.
Yeah.
It is not.
Not at all.
Kelsey from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Hey guys, love the podcast and love that you were able to have Ryan on again last show. My question is, do you think we see anything at Game Awards this year on either one of these mid-gen refresh systems from Microsoft or Sony, or even Nintendo's new Switch? Bonus question, what do you want to see at this year's Game Awards? So we'll probably save like our big predictions for like the show before Game Awards.
Sure.
When is the Game Awards? It's like first week of December, maybe second.
That's typically when it is, right?
Okay.
I'll look it up.
So we will definitely have a podcast before that.
Yeah, but we can talk about like one-offs.
As far as the systems, if any of them were going to show up there, I would tell you it'd be Microsoft because they've had a history of doing that there.
I don't think it would be Nintendo.
I don't think it would be Sony. I think Sony would have their own event, and I don't think Nintendo, no.
Nintendo would have a specialized 30-minute direct because, again, they like to control their own narrative. They typically don't let other people show their stuff first or any of that kind of stuff.
Stuff that I would want to see.
Remember, Sony doesn't even care about the Game Awards enough for Jim Ryan to even show up.
No.
So they're not going to launch the discless system there.
Realistically, I would like to see more Death Stranding 2, and that's a realistic one that could happen. Wild, crazy one that I would like to see happen only because it's been rumored for years, but I really don't think it'll happen. I would like to see if the long-rumored Dino Crisis remaster remake is real. I don't think it is.
No,
but
I don't think
that would be my, if I wanted to go crazy, that would be what I would like to see.
Okay. So
I just don't think it would sell.
All right. So my realistic one would be, please, and Cal already knows what I'm going to say. Please, for the love of God, show me Indiana Jones. Please.
Yeah.
Just prove it exists.
I'm with it, though.
Prove beyond
I'm with you there.
The small thing I got before that it is a game. It does exist. You are working on it. And then if I want to go crazy, show me the Final Fantasy IX remake.
There you go. Okay. I want to go crazy.
Square's weird. They show weird stuff at weird times, and they do it with everybody.
You're right on that one.
So, a Final would they do that now when the part 2 of 7 is coming out? Probably not. But that would be a crazy we are making it Final Fantasy IX remake. And my favorite thing about that would be the fact that they're skipping 8. Just because, it's like a slap in the face. We don't need
until a couple years ago, I would have told you that's a slap to the face, but now I'd say that's fine.
Yeah.
Oh. So, what about you, Matt? Anything?
I would probably say I think Indiana Jones would be a realistic one. I would be interested in that. I'm not high. I haven't yet to watch the last movie, but I've always been a small-time interested party of Indiana Jones. The crazy thing I would really hope that someone would give me, because someone shocked me by giving me Mario RPG this year. How about a fucking Tenchu remaster? Can you please give me something like that? Or maybe a new Onimusha game. The anime's popping out. Why not give me a new game?
Yeah, do you know that, Dan? There is an Onimusha anime coming to Netflix next month.
That's pretty weird.
From the same people that did Castlevania.
Yeah, that's not it.
They're also doing a Devil May Cry anime, which they just put out a trailer for that. I probably should watch that trailer.
I'm gonna have to watch that tonight too.
I would.
Devil May Cry is a weird one because they did do a pretty decent anime of it, maybe a decade ago. But whatever.
Yeah,
I'm not against it.
And then let's do the ultimate release where Mother 3 just ends up on Virtual Console.
Oh, there you
go. Shit.
There you go.
I knocked my kids off the Switch. Get out of the way.
There you go. It's Daddy's turn on
the Switch.
Oh gosh.
We got a couple redacted emails to go through here, so you know what that means.
They're all good. Mm-hmm.
First one comes from Kent. Hey guys, yet another GameStop manager here bitching about the trade credit getting taxed. It sucks. And with Spider-Man being our big release in October, it's about to get worse. I've already had to explain to 3 different customers who have Spider-Man reserved the situation, and they are pissed. I am not looking forward to that day. But perhaps the bigger thing that has me finally looking to get out after 11 years is that email to corporate that was leaked from the new CEO. Roll up your sleeves and get to work. What does this asshole think we've all been doing for the last decade? At this point, I'm not sure anyone left at this godforsaken company could work harder. Yikes. I'll let you explain what that is, because for context, I guess we haven't, for people that are not in GameStop.
We kind of set it aside. But you know what? You might as well read the next 2.
Okay.
Because they all kind of lump together. Yeah.
Let's just say a thing happened, and we had a few emails come through I picked the biggest ones. So I read them all, but I picked the biggest ones about it. Next email we have, redacted, comes from Brandon. Says, hey guys, I'm sure you saw the email that came out regarding our new CEO who will run this company into the ground and grab his golden parachute. Yikes. There's never been a bigger call to get the fuck out of this company than this. Asking people to work harder. Seriously, where the actual fuck does this guy get off? He's been on the board for a while. He knows everyone that stayed with this shit company is working their ass off, yet somehow we should work harder. Also, being frugal means more layoffs and cuts. On a previous episode, Dan joked about the idea of an SL3, but I've actually heard it being mentioned as more of an area manager. So yeah, they are totally talking about this. Thanks for what you guys do. I'm working on getting out.
Good job.
I might as well read the third one because it also mentioned also Gary from Redacted. Hey guys, GameStop manager here. Can we take a moment just to talk about how bullshit that email was from the new CEO? Seriously, roll up my sleeves. They've been rolled up so long I don't have any more. You guys preach at us every episode to get out, but this right here, this is the true moment. I got interviews next week. I'm ready to be out this bitch. Thanks dudes for what you do.
Okay, so for anyone who didn't hear, Chewy, who we joke about, is the GameStop savior. He fired his CEO, in like April or March, right?
Yeah,
fired that guy
around that time,
right before that guy's severance was coming up, and they've been kind of working in like an interim thing in the process where like nobody's really had that job. Well, surprise, surprise, he named himself CEO. What a strange move to finally just say, okay, guys, I guess I'll do it. Oh, weird. And in the meantime, and then shortly after he gets, remember he's not going to take additional compensation for this. That was key. They made sure to put that in the press release of like, yes, he's not going to get paid more to do this.
He's not getting a paycheck.
He was already doing that anyway. That's not like he's already been doing this position anyway. He has been in charge. Like the board of this company, quote unquote, is a joke because just as many people that join it leave it or get fired, or people like Reggie's case say something weird's going on. I'm out.
I'm out. Yeah.
Like I can tell this fucker isn't doing things correctly. Goodbye. So the real kicker was shortly after this, he sends out a message to the stores, which of course is leaked immediately because it's GameStop.
Well, he sent it out to what would it be, like shareholders, and then maybe like
it was
regionals?
To stores. No, it was to stores.
Did it go to actual stores?
I'm pretty sure it was to everyone because they have a new like internal messaging thing that we never had.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay,
we kind of had it towards the end with like the tablet and some of that shit, but it never really worked. Okay. But now they have this new thing called like main menu where they can send stuff to. But yeah, he basically came out and said, we've got to work harder, roll up your sleeves. People who waste money aren't going to help this business. My favorite line in it was one that we've heard forever where it's like, spend the money like it's your money, which was a phrase we were always told, or at least I was always told.
That, no, we've been told that for years, like even before.
Business. Remember, it was always run the business like it's your business, except run it like it's your business that you have zero control over. That you can't order stock and you can't change prices or set sales or market things or have hours to people to work or change hours for that the store should be open to better affect sales or decide what midnights you want to do. You can't do any of that. But run it like it's your store and it's your money. Well, if I'm running it like it's my store and it's my money, I should be paid the profits of what my store makes. If that's what you're saying. On top of my salary, but they've kind of changed that recently with like you get bonuses and incentives and stuff as long as you meet the arbitrary goals that corporate sets for those bonus levels, which can change at any time. Then you'll get a bonus. For him to come out and to tell people to roll up their sleeves and all this shit, this guy didn't even go to the managers conference. This company that he basically fucking runs. Nah, man, I'm not going to be there. You guys handle it.
Insane.
But don't worry, I'll send an email telling you to work your asses off, or I'll probably just fire more of you. And like he was like the one guy was talking about, like joking about SL3s. That's not a joke. That's real.
No, it's not. That's a real thing.
SL3s, SL4s, area managers. Area manager's been a thing for a long time. Remember, those existed when I started. There was one in specific who we had who ran like the 4 stores in our area, which was funny because I was actually pretty cool with that guy. A lot of people weren't. But
I know that.
I used that guy to get my then boss in trouble because at the time I was just a third key or an SGA, and my boss and the assistant never did a fucking thing at that store. I worked every Saturday, every Sunday. I did counts. I did everything. I had the best numbers in that store all the time because I was the only one doing actual fucking work. And I finally got so sick of it that when we had that area manager guy and I was cool with it, even though my assistant was trash and I did not like him and he did nothing too, I convinced him that the boss did less. And he was like, yeah, he does nothing. So I got him on my side and used that to take my boss down to the point where I don't know if I've ever told this on the podcast, but I got so bad with him that I called the area manager, came in, basically took him into the back, reamed him for probably 2 hours to the point where he had to write a note like on a piece of paper that basically said like, I will do my job and all this shit. Like think of like be getting in trouble in school and having to write the same thing on a chalkboard 100 times.
Yeah.
This is the equivalent of that as an adult man running a store.
Okay.
He had to write this down and tape it on the inside of the door to the back room. So every time you were leaving the back room to go to this floor, it was just in front of your face and you could read it.
That's great.
And it was there for like a year until that guy transferred. That guy was a clown. And like Kyle knows who I'm talking about. He's a nice person. Yeah. I have no problem with him as a person. But as a boss,
can't manage people.
And a retail store worker, he's borderline incompetent to the point where I could not tell you how he got that job because he couldn't he couldn't count things. His inventories were always trash. He worked at a store which I ended up working at after, where there was not a lot of room to display stuff, and since he could not figure out how to properly organize, he basically just said fuck it and would have bulk stacks of games. Like we used to wrap up 5 games in a rubber band just because it was like this 5 of the same thing. He put those on the display floor up on top on the slat wall above, so it was like visible to customers that we had bulk overstock. And I remember one time doing an inventory for him and getting up there, and I just thought to myself like, maybe I should check and make sure these games are in here. Most of them are empty. But like in a stack of 5, maybe 3 of them would have a game. So then it became now I've got to check every fucking bulk stack, and he was missing hundreds of things. Didn't get fired because he was teacher's pet. He was the guy who would, if a customer complained about something that the customer did wrong, here's a gift card for you. So sorry, you're a dumbass. Here's $50 to our store. Some other store made a mistake. I'll give you a $50 gift card. What is wrong with you? Run it like you want to talk about running it like it's your business. This man would be homeless if he had that power.
Exactly. The amount of gift cards that
given the fucking store away to anybody who bitched.
And I'm talking, and from what I remember, they were not like $10. They were like $50. Some of them.
Some of them were $50. Yeah. He would go nuts. He would start at like 25 and he would go up.
Yeah.
But to go back, so basically, like area managers were a thing, and they had some level of power, but they were still below district managers. And then there was always like the DMIT position, which is like the people who are store leaders who think that they're going to become district managers. So they put you on this string to kind of drag you along to be like, yeah, you can do the work of a district manager for the same pay you're making now. And if one opens up, we'll talk about it, kind of a thing. And
which at that time those opened up so rare.
And then one out of 5 of those people make it anywhere. And because the only people that ever make it, we've talked about it before, the only people that ever make it to like DM level, 9 out of 10 of those are ass kissers who do nothing but berate employees and put people down and all that kind of stuff. Every now and then 1 out of 10 gets through. That's good. Like our last one. But yeah, it was just area managers. That's going to be a thing again, man, where you're doing the work of 4 stores and you're not getting paid for it. But this time, the only difference this time, you won't have store managers to blame. You're going to need to blame. Like to put out this email to employees, it's
stupid.
It's either tone deaf or incredibly self-aware that the company is going to tank. And if I fall back to my theory I had before, where he has to be getting something out of this place failing. There's something about this place failing that's going to make him a lot of money.
It's the name.
The name is part of it because imagine selling it to an online retailer.
That's probably the plan, right?
Like someone would want the name because it's a known quantity for decades. And if you sold it to someone else so that they could manage it and just be like, look, man, I trimmed all the fat. I got rid of half of the corporate people. I closed the distribution center. I've cut stores in half. I've gotten rid of all this dead weight. You're not paying store managers anymore. You can decide to keep some locations open if you want when I sell it to you. And and then they would pick like a Chicago one, Mall of America, stuff like that. Because you saw like Toys R Us is back with like 24 stores. And people were like, but I saw people being like, oh, where are they going to be located? They're going to be in major areas. That's it. Yeah. You're not going to see a Toys R Us where you used to have one in town. They're not coming back.
For sure.
But yeah, this is mental. It's just
if you never like thought that there was a signal for the end, this is the signal for the end.
The thing that strikes me really funny about it is he did all this 3 months before Christmas.
Yeah.
2 months before what is realistically the best day of the year for them, Black Friday, which, spoiler alert, is never a great day for them because they never have anything.
Nope. They never go to the level they need to with their deals.
Black Friday,
they're always $5 to $10 higher than everybody else.
Black Friday should have always been the one day where they're like, we care about volume, not necessarily profit. And again, the key to that would be like, hey, on Friday, all these games are $20. If you come Saturday, it's $30. Sorry. And it's, it's still a sale, but
that's still bad. I mean, that's still not good. I mean, good.
No, but we couldn't match other places.
Like I said, every year that we did Black Friday, I mean, we watched every year we watched Black Friday die more and more, but every year, even the first year when it was busy, the entire day. I'm talking when we opened to whenever I left, because I always worked the late shift or the opening shift, I should say.
You and I would have you do that with me.
I did think the last year that we did like the overnight thing, I did it, and then I said I was done doing the overnight thing, but then they killed that.
Yeah.
So, rightfully so, because it was fucking stupid. You should be open from midnight to 2, close the store, and then reopen at like 5 or 6.
It should really be like
that, like 2 to 6 like
it
time.
Should really have been like midnight until that crowd dies.
Yeah,
fair. And you should be able to like judge that for yourself. Like you would say, like you have to be open till at least 1. But if there's no one in the store at 1, go ahead and close. Reopen the store at 6, and then just be open till 10. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that was like there was a better way to do it, but they could never figure. There was. Their plan was always like, if we're open on Thanksgiving, that works. No, it doesn't.
Not at all.
Maybe for an hour. But again,
they could never match the deals that any other retailer had every year.
We couldn't match Best Buy. We couldn't match Target. We couldn't match anybody. They tried banking on the fact that we had, especially towards the end, well, we're going to have pop mystery boxes, and we're going to have 15% off T-shirts, and we're going to have, if you buy a janky U system, you get 2 games under $10 for free, and a weird ass third party GameStop brand controller.
Because
they would try to make shitty used bundles when they could have made actually good bundles. They did not. Did not.
Yeah, for sure. It's just we watched it die though.
Or limited quantities. Limited quantities of this, and it would be like 6 or 4 or 2, and it's like, then why even send it to us? It's just Black Friday was never what it should have been at that place. The only deal, honestly, the biggest deal people cared about was buy 2 get 1 free on used games, and even that didn't quite make it till the end when we were there. Because remember that we started to change.
They started changing it too much. The only other thing that, like, if we ever had doorbusters specifically on like 3DSs, those would sell.
Well, yeah, I mean those were,
but that
gimmies.
Was.
But
that was it.
People generally buy most doorbuster systems. I remember that the third model PS3, we had one the one year. Those went.
Yeah, I remember that.
Stuff like that. The other thing, like, they never took advantage of what Black Friday could have been for like pro members. Why not make it where, like, if you're a pro member, you get an additional $5 off these new games.
Yeah, something.
Or buy 2 get 1 free is only for pro members on Friday. Saturday and Sunday it opens to everybody else, but Friday should have been like just pro members. Kind of a thing where Saturday and Sunday.
If you want the good shit, you better be a pro member.
You better be a pro member on Friday, or you get the scraps on Saturday and Sunday, because buy 2 get 1 free was always a shit show where we would run out of anything decent almost immediately. And, we would hold stuff for ourselves, of course.
Oh, yeah.
And then, every so often there was a decent Black Friday thing, but a lot of times I would get Black Friday stuff at Best Buy.
Oh, no, yeah, like for me, it would always be Best Buy, sometimes Walmart or Amazon. Mm-hmm. Now it's just that I do everything online, but I think most people do. So, but yeah, it's funny because we watched Black Friday go from what it was to what it became.
Black Friday used to be time period crazy. It used to be.
I remember working at Target when Black Friday was real crazy in like 2007. So
the best years of Black Friday are the years we just opened at 6 a.m. Mm-hmm. That's the craziest part.
Absolutely.
Because the first year we tried to move it to 4, they didn't tell anybody. So nobody came.
Nope.
And then they tried to move it to Thanksgiving, but there was a big backlash of stuff online on Thanksgiving of, well, I can't believe these companies are making people work on Thanksgiving. And then they changed it where it's like, we're going to take care of you guys. We're not going to be open on Thanksgiving. And then the next year we were open on Thanksgiving. So it's just like
that was the last year you were there, right?
Yeah.
The Thanksgiving year. Yeah. Okay.
But they just have people who sit in an office and look at Excel spreadsheets all day and think that actually means how stores work. None of them know.
It's not. Yeah.
And the difference with Chewy is like, he clearly doesn't know, but the dangerous part about him is he doesn't care.
No.
Yeah.
Roll up your sleeves and get to work. What the fuck do you think we have been doing?
Every email that we got about this week, they all mentioned the roll up the sleeves comment
because it's insane.
It's insane to say.
It's like telling you haven't been doing anything to keep this company alive for the past 3 years of like COVID on, when they had to fight. They lied to keep stores open and had to fight to stay around. Without a decent online presence. And recently they've made the online presence worse. You want to buy a new game from us on a release date? Cool. That doesn't qualify for free shipping anymore. What? Same. It's crazy. Whereas Best Buy, I can just, it does. Okay.
Best Buy, I think the limit is like 35.
Yeah, it's almost nothing.
Low. It's very low.
Amazon, most stuff is free, especially if you're a Prime member. If you're willing to wait a couple of days, it's like $4. Mm-hmm. But GameStop, it's $10, $15, depending on where you live.
Poor.
Get out, please.
Get out.
I'm happy to hear that those 3 people that are working on it. Please do. Again, and we say this a lot too, but like, if you got out, please tell us you got out. Tell us how.
Yes.
Tell us, and not only us, but tell other people at GameStops who listen to this that you got out. That you're doing okay, that you got a better job. Everyone needs to hear everyone's success stories from this. Please.
That's 100% true. Our final email this week comes from Kara from Fresno, California. It says, hey guys, are there any plans on doing any reviews of any of the spooky movies this month, like Exorcist Believer, Pet Sematary Bloodlines, or the Five Nights at Freddy's movie? Love the movie reviews that you had over the summer. I think we're probably all going to watch Five Nights at Freddy's because it's on Peacock.
I'm going to watch that one. And then you got me the other one I wanted to see, so I'll watch that.
Totally Killer?
Totally Killer. Yeah, I want to watch that.
So I will give a little side note to Exorcist Believer. So my best friend and I, we were looking forward. I actually did have tickets for it. And then and I'm not somebody who's usually very swayed by reviews unless it is overwhelmingly negative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The reviews for this movie are extremely overwhelmingly negative. Like, I think it currently sits at like a 23% on Rotten Tomatoes. To the point we had conversations all week. I'm like, do you still want to go? I don't know. We finally just made the decision. I'm like, it's going to be up in 2 weeks. The most telling thing to me, I told this to Matt this morning, is I woke up this morning and I saw an article where they're already talking about, hey, buy our special edition Blu-ray Steelbook edition of this movie that just came out today.
That's pretty weird.
Why the fuck are we talking about
Normally
that?
you don't hear about the Blu-ray for like a month.
Till the weekend after.
Or even like a month later, yeah.
Yeah. This movie's gonna be on digital in 2 weeks, I guarantee. Because the other thing, they had to move it up because next weekend's that Taylor Swift thing, so it would have gotten destroyed.
Well, you probably want it on digital by Halloween.
It will be on my prediction is 2 weeks, but by Halloween weekend or whenever that is, I think Halloween is on a Tuesday this year.
I think so.
It is.
That weekend before, this movie will be on digital platforms. Yeah. At that point, I will watch it. I will do a short review of it on YouTube, but I cannot justify. Like, I looked at it, I told my friend, I'm like, I'm not justifying a $30 movie theater experience for this. I told like the guy I was waiting to review it on YouTube. I watch The Cinema Snob, and I like his horror movie opinions are like almost identical to mine. That guy says it's fucking trash. If that guy tells me it's trash, I know it's not a good movie. So that was my like, okay, I get it. Pet Sematary Bloodline. So that is on Paramount Plus. I am going to watch it this weekend. It is if for those that don't know, they took what they did, and I don't think it's going to work. I've heard, I think IGN gave it like a 6. It's the only thing I've really heard about it. What they've done is like for those that know the story of Pet Sematary, the dude that lives across the street, the old man, he tells a story about what somebody did when he was younger with the Pet Sematary. They've taken that little story and turned it into like a 2-hour movie. Which like, okay, maybe, but like also we just tried to do that with that Dracula movie a couple months ago and it worked okay. So I don't know. I'm going to watch it. I will do a short review of it. But yeah, we're all going to watch Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm very excited to see. That's PG-13. I'm most excited to see how they toe the line of like, is it a kid-friendly movie or do they go a little too far? I don't know.
I think it'll be. It looks good. It looks like what it should look like.
My other big thing, and I told you, Matt, this morning, is like, I kind of already got that movie with that Nick Cage Willy's Wonderland a couple years ago.
Right.
Which is an excellent fucking movie. So like,
that was so good.
It's got to live up to that.
Yeah,
for me, and like
I think it'll be good.
That is a fantastic movie. So even you would enjoy that, Dan. It's not a gory movie. It's just Nicolas Cage fighting those animatronics.
Robots. Yeah,
dude. But he doesn't say a word in the movie.
That's good.
Which is it's a great movie.
It is very good.
Yeah, I'm very those movies, the Five Nights at Freddy's, I'm very curious. But yeah, other stuff I'll do some like this year I've been doing YouTube shorts, which have been pretty successful for my channel for the spooky month here. And then I'll plug it really quick, but I am doing some streaming this next week. I'm going to look at the original Alan Wake because the new one's coming out. And we were talking about before we recorded today, but I think because of that patch, I will actually look just to see how bad Redfall is.
Yeah.
Because it is Halloween.
There you go.
Let's see how bad it is. So, but yeah, as far as other movies and stuff, there's other stuff that's coming out. I'm sure we'll talk about as it gets towards the end of the year.
Scariest movie. I'm going to watch the scariest movie of the year, The Marvels. I'll go see that.
Oh,
I would like to hear about that from you.
I will watch that. I feel
I want to see that too.
I know you'll go and see that. Yeah. So I don't think our audience wants to hear me talk about that Leo movie, but I will watch that. So
that looked
Killers of the Flower Moon. Yeah, I am gonna watch that. So
I did go see Saw X this past weekend.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
run it down.
Yeah. So it's a slow starter. I will say like the first 20-25 minutes are really the backstory to how you got to where he was at.
Because this one is in between like 2 and 3. Is that where it is?
Yes.
Okay.
So and that's not really given away, but the story of this one falls between 2 and 3 and how he gets to the third movie.
Right.
Okay.
And why he's having like surgery and all that craziness that's happening in the third movie.
Okay.
I will say there was one trap that made me cringe.
Okay.
And there was one trap that was just so devilishly done.
Okay.
It was so good.
Okay.
If you're into gore, it was pretty gory, not gonna lie. Okay. But it's the same guy who's been playing Jigsaw, man, and he's
really good in that role.
He's that franchise, good job. Like he is Saw.
So good.
Yeah.
And I will say, like I said, the first 25-30 minutes are really slow paced to kind of get in it, but once he gets into it, the last like remaining part of the movie was just so well done. A lot of people were knocking on the ending. They really didn't like it, but it didn't really like hit a nerve with me. It wasn't really like, that was a shitty ending, because I was thinking like, oh man, I could go home and watch Saw 3 and see exactly kind of what else happens. You know what I'm saying? And there's like a after credit scene.
Okay.
Right before like all the other like credits roll, and it was really interesting too how he got to that point, and it brought someone back to the franchise. Okay. So if you like, I would say honestly, if you like the first 1 through 4, you'll like Saw X.
I will probably watch this one when it's up. I've heard nothing but positive things about it. Like, it's crazy to me on the other side of this that's the movie that came out that is good.
Oh man,
and this Exorcist movie is trash. Like that is mind blowing to me. But what do you think they do next? Because obviously this was successful. They're seeing the money. They're going to make another Saw.
Cram another one in between other movies at this point?
So the only thing I can really think of is the person who they reintroduce into Saw X. There could be a story development with him and the girl from Saw 2 that's his protege, Amanda.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There is a possibility, like, technically after Saw 3, that maybe them two can, like, link up and do something, like, in his memory, kind of like, going back a little.
Okay.
Possibly, but it kind of opens up the door, if you really think about it, to them doing little mini things like that kind of say, like, pay homage to the first 3 or 4.
Okay.
That kind of fit without really giving you a distinctive timeline, if that makes sense. Like, he could possibly technically, after Saw X, do another Saw movie kind of leading in to what happened into 3, but it might probably kind of go into something the beginning of 4.
Do I remember right that he died in 3? Like, that was it, right? He died at the end of that movie?
Yes, if I remember correctly.
I think he did, right? Because that's the one where he's being like operated on the tape.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I checked out after 3.
3 was the last one I really watched.
I will say, like,
because that was when it became like a different franchise at that point to me.
Yeah,
I love that first Saw movie. I put it on the same pedestal as, like, in terms of like that surprise twist ending, as like a Sixth Sense.
Yeah,
I think that is just so masterfully done.
I remember when I saw that for the first time, and then he like stands up, and you're just like, "Holy shit!"
It's insane.
Like,
yeah,
if you think about it now, like, it doesn't make a ton of sense, but it's a good enough payoff where I don't care.
Yeah, no, I don't either. And like, I stuck with it kind of like the Halloween franchise, where it's like the second one was a good follow-up. The third one is where I felt they started to lean too much into the traps and it being a gore fest.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, that's not what I really was here for. I'm into more of the horror and the idea of trapping these people and that part of it. So I kind of bounced off.
The final trap is so well done.
Okay.
Like it's very good.
Here's my final question, because you've seen all of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Then so there's all these other movies. There's the Chris Rock one, which we're not even going to talk about.
Yeah.
What is Jigsaw then? Like, what is that? What do they do in that one? Because I assume Jigsaw was kind of like what this movie was.
Oh man, okay. So Jigsaw, if I remember correctly,
because that always confused me, or especially when this one came out, I thought that kind of told his backstory because it's called Jigsaw, and he was kind of prominently.
So it Jigsaw told the backstory of him, while this one, it's not really telling a backstory to him. So like.
Okay.
Jigsaw is separate from what this movie did.
Okay.
This movie shows more. It's really just him kind of going back to what he did in 1 and 2, where he kind of set people up to really figure out if they wanted to live or die. That's essentially what he's doing. But the reason he did it was because the doctor staff were dishonest, and he needed to make them understand that, they they needed to go.
Isn't that the premise of this new one? Is a lot of those people in traps are those Dr. Staff, right?
It is the entire staff.
That's the entire movie. Okay.
With. Yeah, it is.
Okay. That's fine.
And it's not only the entire staff that apparently like he gets picked up in a car, and that guy is involved in it somehow. Like he finds out about it. Like so where Jigsaw kind of told his backstory, Saw X just is him picking up where Saw 1 and Saw 2 were. Like, it's no real backstory to him as a character. It's just more to what he's doing, where he's at right now.
Okay.
That's essentially where it's at. I mean,
I've seen people go as far as to say he should be nominated for an Oscar for this movie. And I'm like, it'll never happen because it's a horror movie, but dude does such a good job in that role. And now that they've actually done a movie where it seems like he is the sole focus.
Yeah.
You could probably see his performance shine even more. So no, I'm very interested in it. It's just like I know it'll be up before Halloween.
Yeah, I said, I will tell you that there are the traps in it are very intriguing, and it's just so well done. Like it is very good. I was shocked because I was walking into it thinking, okay, like what are they gonna do? And I walked out thinking, damn, I wish they could do another one.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. Yeah, like for me, like I was trying to think of the only other stuff that I've watched recently that I thought was good. I watched finally, like a year later, I watched Pearl.
Oh yeah,
which is the other part. So like I didn't think X. I thought X was fine. Mm-hmm. The way I look at that movie more is like it's okay, but it's not amazing like a lot of people said. Whereas this Pearl thing comes along. And the best way I can describe that movie, it's like this dude made like a mashup of like Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
So like it has like that, like when you start watching it, it has that like 30s and 40s, like really saturated and over like colorized like look to it.
Okay.
But then it gets twisted. Like it gets weird, it gets funky because that girl, that character who, like that was the first thing I said when I watched X was I was like, okay, this character, like, why are we making a backstory? I didn't think that character was that big of a deal in X. But then when you watch this woman, that Maya Goth, which I've seen her in a ton of movies, but like her performance is insane in that Pearl movie. Like it is really something. So if you haven't seen that, there's only one thing that took me out of it, which is like there is a kill in that movie where someone gets decapitated and you can tell it is the most fake looking head you've ever seen in like a moderately budgeted movie. Where everything else is so good in this movie visually. That took me out of it. And that's something that happens very towards the end of the movie. But I can't recommend that Pearl movie enough.
That's always the kind of thing in movies, too, where like there's one shot that's like always seems like it's like out of place. You think like would that shot have worked better if they had like just cut away like right before it happens and just it implied what had happened? You could have saved yourself a lot of trouble.
That would have been. I would have been fine with that
because you know what's gonna happen.
I know you hear
the noise and whatever, or a shadow of something. You know,
and the very next scene is her feeding the parts of this person to an alligator. It's like what happened.
There you go.
Do I need to see the actual head come off laying there? No, and that they shouldn't have shown that.
Yeah.
Because it took me out of the movie. And for a movie that looks so good visually, otherwise, it really like it's like that guy went back and watched Wizard of Oz like 100 times and then was like, I want to make a movie look like that, but it's a horror movie. It is quite something. The other reason I wanted to watch it too is that the guy that is going to play the new Superman, to James Gunn, he is in that movie. That's like the first big movie he was in.
Oh, okay.
So I want to see like what he's like. He's very good.
Okay,
like he's gonna be fine as Superman. So even though I'm a diehard Henry Cavill fan, he's gonna be fine. So
as long as it's a good Superman movie, that's all I really care about. Just please
I want
make
him
a good
to be
Superman movie.
a happy I want to get back to who Superman
I want Happy Clark, and he's happy to be Superman, kind of a thing.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
Get some like get that happiness back.
Right.
Like I don't want him to be like a pouting Superman. And if we like, I'm pretty sure I read for that movie, they're not going to do like the origin story. But for fuck's sake, if you do, Pa Kent doing better.
Please don't.
Than the Kevin Costner shit. It was so bad.
Hold up his hand in a tornado. That was so fucking dumb.
Just comments like, well, should you save those kids? Did we see that
together?
I don't know.
I thought we saw that together, right?
Oh, hell yeah.
We were both like, what the fuck was that? He could have saved him without anybody noticing.
It wasn't even that scene. It was those other scenes where like Pa Kent is who nurtured that hope and that
Clark,
like that relationship.
You should have let all those kids on that bus die.
Exactly. And that was like
and watched every kid on that bus drown.
So you did. That's why you wonder why you got a Superman the way you did. And again, I think Henry Cavill was amazing as Superman, but like the way they wrote that character at times just went so against what Superman is.
It was weird.
I'm very, very excited to see what James Gunn does with Superman. And everything
he's saying, what he does with everything at this point. Like the only thing I don't like is that we're bringing like, I'm glad John Cena's back as Peacemaker, but season 2 is not in continuity with season 1 anymore. Then what is the point?
Weird.
Like it's so
weird.
Yeah,
weird. I still need to watch that.
It's great. It's super good.
So, but yeah, there will be some movie reviews.
We'll do movie reviews
as
much as we can. Yeah,
stuff,
for sure.
As stuff comes out. So I will, I will talk about that Leo movie and stuff. But I actually got my girlfriend interested to see that. So, but yeah, that is our final email. So we can go ahead and wrap things up. As always, send your emails to podcast572@gmail.com. And we will be back in another 2 weeks for another edition of the podcast. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, everyone.
Stay safe.